Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel, dbooknerd. My name is Denise, and if this is your first time to my channel, welcome. You're only a stranger once. Please make sure to hit subscribe and notifications so that you know when I upload a new video. So Lucy, ooh, so this video is about all the books that I've read this year, and I'm proud to say that I'm meeting my goals, at least for the year, maybe not monthly, but for the year I'm on track. And let's go and see what books I have to share with you that I've read. So again, what I'm talking about today are all the books that I've read this year. My goal is to read 24 books. That's what I made it. I set it kind of medium or whatever, low, whatever way you look at it. And next year I might try to go to 48. We'll see. I like to keep reading fun, not make it a task, but I do want to increase my reading because I love it so much. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get to what I've read so far this year. So first, what I'm going to start with are all my Freida McFadden books that I've read. And the first one that I'll talk about is The Housemate. This is that New York Times best-selling book. Probably everybody's heard of it. This is a thriller, again, by Freida McFadden. And I love this book. It was great. I can see why there was such hype about it. This is about Millie. I call her Millie the maid. And Millie has a past. And Millie becomes a maid so that she can make money, so she doesn't, have to live on the street or what have you. And Millie ends up working for a prominent couple, a wealthy couple called their last name is the Winchesters, and they have a daughter named Cece. So there's Nina Winchester, and then Cece, and I forgot the husband's name. I think it's Andrew. And anyway, so she works for them, and Nina has a lot of idiosyncrasy. She's very impeccable and she likes things done precisely right. Yet she starts making up things and acting really strange and becoming very mean and rude to Nina. And her daughter's rude to her, but Andrew is just so wonderful. So you have all of that, and then you go into Freida McFadden mode. It gets twisty, it gets weird. Something happens, and then you have to find out who did it, why, and all of that good stuff. Great book. I loved it because none of the characters are perfect. Some of them are not even that likable. A lot of them are not likable. Even sometimes Millie is not that likable. So, but she's real, and so you just want to see what's going to happen. How is Millie going to get out of the situation or figure out the situation or what have you. You don't know, again, who did it, why is everything so weird, what's going to happen to Millie, or if something's going to happen to Millie, and all of that good stuff. So The Housemate, the first of the series, great book. The next book that I have is The Housemaid's Secret. Again, this is by Freida McFadden, another thriller. This is part 2 to the Housemaid series. And again, you have Millie. This time she's feeling like somebody is watching her. And in addition to, now she's working at another family's home. And this family, again, they seem to be well off and all of that. The husband is the one that hires her, but yet there's a caveat. He has a wife that stays locked up in a room that's sick. And Millie is not to bother her, not to talk to her or anything. Well, of course, Millie is curious now. She's wondering what's going on. Sometimes this woman is peeking out the window. Sometimes she's hearing her crying. Millie wants to help her. And in that trying to help her and all of that good stuff, things start to happen. So again, another twisty and turny book by Freida McFadden. This is my favorite in the Housemaid series. I thought it was awesome. I love the way it ended. I just loved all the twists because I really did not see what happened coming. And great book, again, by Freida McFadden. If you like thrillers, check out the Housemaid series. This one, again, is my favorite. Next, we have The Housemaid is Watching. This is the third in the series, This was highly, highly anticipated. I did a full discussion and review on this book. If you've read the book, then watch that. It's just full of spoilers. It tells you all about the story, or most of it, or what I could gather. And but this one is awesome too. I'm not sure if I like this one better than the first, or the first better than this. I don't know. The second one's still my favorite, but this one is great because you see Millie now in a whole new light. And now I like Millie. So sometimes Millie was a little annoying to me, but I love the books. It doesn't take away from the books. Again, the characters do not have to be perfect for me to love the book. So great writing on Frida McFadden's part. But you get to know Millie. Millie has now moved and bought a home. She has kids. She's just trying to live a normal life. But now somebody's watching her in the neighborhood. She has an extremely nosy neighbor. And another weird couple that lives there, and the woman is, you know, condescending and also flirting with her husband and all of that, and just things start to happen, changes start happening in her children. Millie's trying to figure out what's going on. She's trying not to go back to her old ways and all of that. So excellent book, great twist as usual. Great twist with this book. It gets a little dark, but I like the way Frida did not get so dark that it's going to like traumatize you, but I thought she did a great job with that. So yeah, The Housemate is watching. To me, it was worth the anticipation. So yeah, get this if you haven't. The other Frida McFadden book that I read was The Locked Door, and again, it's another thriller. This book is about Nora Davis. Nora, her father, when she was little, he was arrested for being a serial killer. In fact, he kept some of the dead people in the basement. So very sick, gross, you know, all of that. But now we're in present day. Nora is a doctor or surgeon, I believe. Nora's a surgeon. Nora's really concerned about having ways like her dad. So you have that, you know, so you have her trying to get away from her past, but then, and her dad is in prison, but then you have some killings that start again that are just like the ones her dad did. And guess who people are looking at? They're looking at Nora. So in this book, Nora's trying to clear herself. We're trying to wonder if it's Nora. We're trying to wonder who it is, why this is happening. Could her dad have escaped, or is he training somebody from the prison, or what's happening? So this was a good book. I think this one might have been my least favorite. I still enjoyed it a lot. Great thriller, but it's just maybe my least favorite of the Frida McFadden books that I've read. But yeah, The Locked Door. The next book we have is The Coworker. The Coworker and The Housemate are the ones that I hear about a lot. And there's some other ones, but these are two that definitely stand out. I did enjoy this book a lot. Again, this is The Coworker by Frida McFadden, if I didn't say that. And this is in an office setting. And you have this book, it's about Dawn. Dawn works in an office, and Dawn is very strange, and Dawn goes missing. And then her co-worker, what was her name? Natalie. Natalie wants to figure out what happened to Dawn. Even Natalie got a call that she believes is Dawn asking for help. But Natalie's not getting a lot of help trying to find Dawn. And this is a twisty, turny thriller. This gives you a ride. Okay, this one, because you go back in time and you're seeing Dawn sending emails to people and all of this, and talking to people and explaining things, and so it kind of leads up to what happens, and it is it's mind-blowing. So, and Dawn is so different. She's so interesting. She's funny. Like, I was laughing at this in this book because Dawn is funny. Natalie is something else. It is a good book. So another great thriller by Frida McFadden. Another book that I read this year is The Other Black Girl. This book is by Zakilia Delilah Harris. And this book, I saw a lot of not so good comments about this book, and if you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you probably see this book always on my TBR. I finally really made this book a priority because I wanted to read it for myself, and it was good. It was different. I don't know today if it's a thriller, if it's a mystery, if it's just contemporary fiction. I don't know, but it was very interesting. It does have a lot of social commentary in it. It very much goes into how Black women, what they go through in the corporate world. So you have this one Black woman, and I forgot, I'm horrible with names. Nella, she works at an office. She's the only Black woman there. And then another Black woman is hired. And then strange things start to happen. It's crazy. I can definitely say Delilah is very creative in thought and in writing. So it is very interesting. Some people were like, what did I just read when they read it? But I thought it was a good book. Yeah, it was a good book. It's very interesting. That's all I can say. Again, creative, and it does make you think to a degree about things. The other book that I read was Honey and Spice. This was a book that I have been really looking forward to reading. It is a romance book, and the author is Bolu Babalola. And this book, I believe they're like British, African students, something like that, or Caribbean, African Caribbean students, and they are, but I believe they're in England. Yeah, they're in England, in a school in England. I believe it's a college, and Kiki is the main character. Kiki is, she's for the girls, she's for the women, she's empowering them. She has like a radio show or a podcast where she's encouraging them not to take any mess, who to watch out for in terms of men and all of that. But then she puts her foot in her mouth when she's seen kissing one of the very men that she's warning the women about. So she's getting the side eye from them. And then her and him end up working together on a project and kind of maybe even doing some, I can't remember if it was some fake dating. Maybe it was. I think it was. And it goes from there. Overall, I really like the chemistry between the two characters. So it is Kiki, and I can't remember his name. But anyway, yeah, I really like the chemistry between them. I liked the book in terms of how much they celebrated African Caribbean culture. So the students are very proud. You know, the African Caribbean students, they're very proud of their culture. So I love that. If you are a young adult or just somebody that's very into modern times, like vernacular, music, all of that, it makes a lot of references to that. So I think it will really resonate with people like that, with young adults and things like that. Some type of vulgar language and things like that I could have done without, but overall this was a great book. The next book that I have is Wander in the Dark. This book is by Jumata Emil. And this is a thriller. This is a young adult thriller. I said this is one of my favorite young adult books that I have read. It was very well written. I loved it. I mean, I just loved it. It's about Amir and Marcel. They are half brothers, and they live in two different households. So Marcel lives with the father who left, who left Amir's mother. And so there's kind of a rift between them. They're kind of, they don't get along. And Amir feels very resentful, which, is natural. But anyway, Amir grudgingly goes to Marcel's birthday party, and he ends up leaving with one of the really popular girls there, and she happens to be white. And she ends up dead. Like by the next day, you find out she died. And Amir is kind of, he's seen as the main suspect of doing this. Of course, he believes he is innocent, or, it's made like he's innocent or what have you. And Marcel and him are looking to find out the real answers as to why she died or, got killed and who did it. It's very, very good at keeping you guessing. You don't know who did it. You don't exactly know why, and kind of when you think you know why, you're not sure. It has some social commentary aspects as well, in terms of racism, in terms of being at a school that's predominantly white with a lot of rich people. There's classism and all of that, but it's very well done. with the mystery. So just great book, great writing. I really enjoyed this book and looking forward to reading some more of Jemada Mills' books. The next book that I have is The American Queen. You all heard me probably gush about this a lot if you've been watching my videos. The American Queen is written by Vanessa Miller, and this book is about Queen Luella. Before she was queen, she was Luella. Luella was a slave on a plantation. She meets or is, in love with a man whom they end up marrying. Once the slaves are freed, or I should say the enslaved are freed, Luella has dreams of them getting their own land and building their own community. Some people are hesitant, but Luella has that strength and that drive that leads the people to this land where they build it up, and then she's deemed queen. There's some hard stuff in there because, again, they are enslaved, but I can tell you it pays off because you see victory, you see perseverance, you see strength. You see community and all of that. There's some stuff going on in there. You always have to have a hater or something involved. That's in there, but it is a great book. This is a historical fiction, and it is based on a real person, Queen Luella. She is a hidden figure. I am so thankful that she wrote about her because I did not know about her. I did not know about this area or anything. So this is well worth the read. The book is doing so well. So shout out to Vanessa Miller. The American Queen. This book is The First Ladies, and this is by Marie Benedict and Victoria Christopher Murray. And they wrote this book about Eleanor Roosevelt and Mary McLeod Bethune and their friendship and their activism and their influence on, like, Eleanor Roosevelt on her husband, and Mary McLeod Bethune on Eleanor Roosevelt and the husband, the president, and just the changes that they made because of the work that they did, and their friendship despite their different worlds was awesome. So really, really great book. I think this was highly informative. This book read to me, it was very, I don't know how to describe it, like timeliney. So, there were different aspects, different parts of their lives that we did get to see, but it wasn't the most exciting book, but I think that it's an important book, and it was full of great information and, aha moments and things like that, and just admiration for these women. So great book, The First Ladies. This is one of the more recent books that I finished. This is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and this is a romance. This romance is about, what was her name? Alexis. So we have Alexis Montgomery and Daniel. Alexis meets Daniel in a small town where she's driving through. She gets in like a little fender bender like thing because of a raccoon, and he saves her, gets her car out or whatever, and they end up clicking, I should say. I don't want to give things away. And he lives in a rural town. He's like the mayor. He's the owner of the bed and breakfast. And his family, he's a grant, I believe. And it's just, passed down and passed down. They take care of this community where he's at. It's small town. They're very close-knit. It's very different from where Alexis comes from. She is an ER doctor. She comes from a family of prominent doctors. Her family wants to keep her in that type of lifestyle. She has the rich friends, and they look down on people that may not be like them and all of that. So you have them with maybe this spark, and then Alexis is really wondering, can she be a part of his world, and can he be a part of hers? And so that is our dilemma in this book. I think that they did a great job with their love story and the reasons why maybe it would be hard for them to be in love. I did think that Alexis was sometimes ridiculous. I just felt like she needed to, as you tell the kids, use your words, just say, what's going on. I thought Daniel was a little naive. There's an age gap too, so that's going to be good too. I thought Daniel was a little naive sometimes, and maybe, take the clue, but yet it all comes together, I guess, You'll see. And but yeah, so great book. I did for the romance for me. I did not. I loved it, especially towards the end. I did not. I felt like it was based on sex, and so but they tried to make it deeper. And maybe that can happen. I'm sure it does or whatever. But I would have liked to see it a little different. But I'm not the author. I didn't write the book. But it is a great book. I can see why people love Abby Jimenez. I'm looking forward to reading the second book in this series. I guess it's a series, or at least they're companion books at the very least. And yeah, so great book. This was one of my favorites too. So you've seen some of, I made a video about my top 4 so far this year, which I'm sure will change. But this was definitely in one of my favorites. It's called Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I see why people love Kennedy Ryan's books. She is an exceptional writer. So her writing is just great. You feel the love in this book. You feel the family tension. You want to cry. You want to snatch somebody up, particularly her daughter, the main character's daughter. And so this is about a couple, because of course I can't remember the names. So you have Yasmin and Josiah. They were, okay, the video died, the battery died on me. So I know that I left off stating that Josiah and Yasmin were married and they loved each other. They'd known each other for years. I did a discussion and review on this as well with spoilers. But they just have this great love, and they have 2 children, a daughter, I believe her name is Deja, and the boy, I believe his name is Hassim. And so they end up getting a divorce, and it really goes into how this affects them and their family, how Yasmin is trying to move on, how Josiah has moved on, how maybe, how let's see, Yasmin is having feelings about how he's moving on and who he's moving on with. And he's having feelings about who she's moving on with. And really there's, maybe there's still some feelings there. Plus they got to go through the pain and agony of loss and the grief of even breaking up. Their children are going through the pain of loss and their family breaking up. That causes certain things to happen with their children. It deals with depression. And when I tell you that this author, Yasmin, Kennedy Ryan did an excellent job just depicting real life, just the gut-wrenching things that can happen and the emotions, but yet the beauty of love and all of that. She did it. She did the thing. So I definitely highly recommend this book if you love stories. Just be prepared, there's trigger warnings. It's not going to be easy. It's going to remind you of real life, but a beautiful story by Kennedy Ryan, Before I Let Go. And yeah, so that was, this was one of my favorites again. Then finally I have this book called The Wishing Game, and this book is by Meg Schaffer. This book is, I don't remember what it was. Is it contemporary fiction? I think it's contemporary fiction. To me, there's maybe a tiny bit of magical realism in it. I don't know. It just has that kind of feel. I don't even know if it really does. But this book is about Lucy. Lucy is a teacher. And Lucy grew up reading these books. And to me, they aren't like Harry Potter, but they remind me of the Harry Potter series and like the hype behind it and people loving them, and they're just going on for generations and generations. And so she loved these books, and then she is a teacher, and she has a student or either a student at her school who she just really clicks with. He loves her, she loves him. He wants her to be his mom. She wants him to be her son, but Lucy does not have the money. So anyway, what happens is this author that wrote this great series, he goes off the grid, and he lives on this island called Clock Island, and he goes off the grid for a very long time, and people are, wanting him to make more books, but he hasn't. And then it comes out, this big media blitz, and he's making a new book, but the thing is, this book, he's only making one. So there's only going to be one, and people have to win a contest and there's only a certain amount of people that are going to get to that island to do the games that you need to do to win this contest. It's only one person that'll win, and then they get the book and they can do what they wish with the book, so they can sell it, or whatever, and get money or whatever they want to do with it. So Lucy does end up winning, and not winning. She wins to be able to go to the island to try to win the book. She believes that if she can win this book, she can get everything that she needs so that she can adopt the little boy. And so we go from there. So you have this quirky author that has written this book. You have you have characters from different lifestyles that grew up reading these books, and they end up coming there to try to win the book. And it's a cute, heartwarming story. And I really liked it. It was something very different from what I've ever read, or haven't read in a long time. Maybe I've read something like this when I was in elementary school or something like that. But yeah, just a really cute, heartwarming book. Again, this is The Wishing Game. Even the book, the cover has that magical feel to it. And I really enjoyed that one. So these are all the books that I've read for the year. Again, I want to appeal to the reader that doesn't read 10 books a month or whatever, or 10 books a week even. Kudos to those that do. I'm not that one. So if you're not a reader that reads a lot of books, hey, I'm your people. So we can be each other's people, and we can talk about the amount of books that we did read. If you've read a lot of books, that's great. We can still talk about the books. We want to celebrate reading here. But I did, I've had an interesting reading year. I don't say exactly has blown me away. Some books have. A couple of them have, or a few, I should say, and then others were good and interesting. With that said, let me know the books that you've read this year so far and which ones stood out to you, or you just want to share that I just did not like that book at all. I think I read romantic comedy. I didn't read it all. I DNF'd that thing so fast. I rarely ever DNF a book. And so that was actually going to be a giveaway because I barely even touched the book. It's new. So that was being given away. Shout out to the winner. That was already announced in another video. Anyway, I thank you for watching. Again, please make sure to subscribe and be blessed and be book nerdy.